Final levels in video games can either be the greatest way to end an amazing game, or can fall flat, be underwhelming, making you feel like you just wasted your time playing this game in the first place. As for Skylanders, all 6 games are packed full of iconic and memorable levels, most always leading to taking down Chaos and saving Skylands once again. But what is the best final level in Skylanders? Today we'll find out. We're going to be looking back at every final level in each of the Skylanders games and ranking them from worst to best. Ranking factors include story impact, combat, design, difficulty, and lastly, the boss fight. As always, I'm Victor of Saving Skylands. Let's get into it. Worst doesn't mean bad necessarily, but we gotta start somewhere. So at number 6, we have the ultimate weapon from Skylanders Trap Team. Yes, I know, Trap Team is most of y'all's favorite game in the whole franchise, and it was mine too as a kid. But as for the final level, it feels very blah till the boss fight, which, spoiler alert, I'm not a fan of either. The goal of this level is to make your way to and through Chaos's ultimate weapon. But for being an ultimate weapon, the defenses are terrible. The enemies you mostly fight are enemies we saw in the first couple levels of the game. Lots of grenades, warriors, lobbers, and a few others like Hoodsicle, Broccoli Guy, and Smokescreen. Which, speaking of Smokescreen, is one of the easiest trappable villains to defeat in the whole game. He just stands there shooting barrels that you can shoot and destroy, making him pointless. Just don't get too close because he can actually do something shooting a flamethrower and it will kill you. Once you're done with him for the first time in a wave of grenades, I still can't believe Chaos expected to take over Skylands with grenades defending him. Honestly, Chompies would have been more help. But moving on, you'll make your way through the lovely Ferris wheel platform. This is the first of several times in the level you'll have to do this. It's the worst thing to have to do when playing co-op, but hey, that's Glitch Team for you. Make your way to the lock puzzle covering the big red button. Let Blastermine have his time to shine for a second, then immediately put him back to collect dust. Fall down, overcharge, and explode a gear gate, then proceed to fight more of the most underwhelming enemies till the door opens. Once outside, make your way up, passing through some light beam orbs, and honestly damage me more than the enemies in this level. Do a light beam puzzle, take out a few grenades, and proceed back inside. There you'll be greeted by the ever so difficult Smokescreen. Once you're done with him, this is the only somewhat challenging combat section of the level. You've got multiple lobbers shooting, grenades running at you, warriors doing their little stabby stab, and multiple Hoodsickles teleporting around trying to chop your head off. Oh yeah, and don't forget about Broccoli Guy just doing nothing in the corner usually. Jump on some platforms, avoiding orbs, and then get sucked up some chute. More light orb puzzles to get to the higher level, then jump over some tripwires and click the red button once again. It'll open the door leading back outside. A few more enemies, a light puzzle, and then a Ferris wheel or two, and you're finally taking on Chaos. So for the boss fights in this video, they do play a factor in the ranking, but not as much as the level themselves. Thoroughly breaking them down is for another time. But for Traptanium Chaos, yes, it's very challenging on hard and nightmare. Duh. But for the fight itself, it's very repetitive, and when you're only allowed to do so much damage, it drags on the fight so long, making it feel more of a chore than a fun gaming experience. Using a melee Skylander here is actually torture because consistently Chaos does his shielded wave attacks that you can't even touch him. So do yourself a favor and use a ranged Skylander like Gear Shift, or just call in some villains. In between that, he shoots element bullets that, if you're playing either co-op or using a villain, can correlate to those elements. One of the cooler things about this fight. Keep damaging him to get him his blades, and he'll slam them in a straight line across the playing field. Nothing crazy yet. Damage him a little further, and bam, you're back to Chef Pepperjack lasers. Avoid those, waves of Doom Sharks, and Chaos attacks to push him over to the final quarter health, where literally every attack comes out at once. It's, well, Chaos. Through trying to survive all that, you'll finally defeat him, capping off this underwhelming level and repetitive boss fight that has me never wanting to replay it. At number 5, we have the Sky Eater from Skylanders Superchargers. Okay, first off, I'ma say it, Superchargers is a wonderful and fun game through and through. Someone just has to remind y'all. As for the final level, it's not bad. The story is one of, if not the best in the whole series, so that's the main driving factor to keep playing, and it's on full display in this level. Watching Chaos have to deal with his own problems, that is the darkness, trying to destroy all of Skylands when Chaos wants to rule Skylands, is super cool to watch play out. Then Chaos, still annoyed by us and the Skylanders while actually trying to not be full on the darkness insane. The story and motive of this level is great, but as for the actual gameplay, it just feels very empty, as does most of Skylanders Superchargers. Lots of running around in open space, but luckily you get to use all 3 vehicle types to keep it interesting, and they all have a good purpose progressing the level. You start off getting the option to either use a sky vehicle to shoot crystals off a geode and sneak inside, or say no thanks and have Flim ram it in. Shooting the crystals is very easy with little combat, but provides a feeling of purpose because you're actually doing it and not just watching a cutscene. Once in, avoid the lasers and fly through the tunnels till you get to the landing bay, where you'll have to shoot down turrets to make a safe landing. What really brings down Superchargers for me is the lack of hand-to-hand combat with your Skylanders. Most of the levels feel abandoned, and the enemies you do face aren't that challenging. Making your way through some Prodders, Rush Crushers, and Witch Pitchers, you'll meet up with Glumshanks. Here lies your Landstar. Maneuver through defenses, including some turrets and walls, till you get to the big open space with 3 buttons. Only one lets you progress through the level. The other 2 will lead you around and back to the open area. To get through, you'll need to bait Chaos to try to crush you under his fist, unknowingly pressing the button to let you ramp out of there. Now, back as your Skylander, you'll walk across some platforms, then almost immediately get into your sea vehicle to get your Sea Star. This is where you'll need to hunt and destroy the Hydra hatchling. It's super easy with almost no challenge. Watch it swim, don't be in its way when it comes up to bite, and then just shoot it until it's defeated. That'll lower the water level and allow you to get back up to meet with Glumshanks, and he'll guide you to the control room. Avoid the red tiles so you don't get shocked. And oh my god, is this actual combat? Here you'll defeat some of the same enemies again, sometimes being challenging on harder difficulties, but it's mostly a breeze. From there, you'll elevator up to the control room to have the most sad, disappointing Chaos boss fight of all time. Not only is it easy, but it's so unsettling listening to the darkness talk to Chaos like a child. Teasing him when we do damage is actually kind of funny though. Chaos's attacks are so easy to avoid, anyone could do it with their controller upside down. He rolls tiny spiky balls at you and uses a giant sword to send waves of tile out that you just have to simply jump over. Here and there, he'll create fake versions of himself where you'll need to shoot the one with the crown to make them disappear. You'll get to the point where the darkness calls him a disappointment and his attacks switch up to now being fists making waves and bigger spiky balls that really aren't any more difficult to avoid. Avoid the big slam by Chaos in the middle over and over, keep damaging him until he's defeated. Yep, that's it. Or is it? This leads to one of the coolest cutscenes you will ever see in Skylanders, and also leading to the darkness fight. Also, a banger credit song that I'm not playing because I'd get copyrighted, but now it's time to face the darkness, aka drive around, go through hoops until he's defeated. Yes, that's literally the fight. There are phases where there's more beams to avoid while driving, or he teleports you to another road where you'll have to shoot down ships and avoid orange crystals to attack him again. But you'll just repeat this about 10 times to finally finish him off, ending the game on a pretty happy note. Number 4. Chaos's Fortress. Skylanders Swap Force is, in my opinion, the best video game in the Skylanders franchise. But even though it's my favorite game, there's still things I don't enjoy about it. One of those being Chaos's Fortress, and it's purely softpaw. Dude is so annoying. No, it's not just him. The level itself is actually pretty solid with challenging combat and new enemies. Also, half of the level being goo that damage you adds a nice touch. But there's 3 things I dislike from this level. Number 1, sheep confirmed. Really? You're gonna make me believe that this technology thinks this is a sheep? 2, softpaw. Still, he annoys me. But lastly, probably the most important thing, is that this level is a speedrunner's dream. This sounds like a good thing, but I promise it's not. Countless sections within the level where there's combat, there's no enemy gate, meaning you can just walk past them without fighting. Once you figure this out, it'll never be the same when you play it. Sorry, not sorry. Let's talk about the level itself. Sharpfin and Flynn sneak you into the outskirts of the fortress where you need to take out 3 sheep shooter cannons. This is a very large level, actually so large that Swap Force Wii has a loading screen in the middle of it. Be careful and avoid goo below spinning platforms to grab a key to unlock a door next to Softpaw. Go through and, well, you can just ignore all the enemies in your way until you get to the K-Bot Mine Miner. It's a larger enemy that is pretty easy to defeat as long as no other enemies are on the field. Once they're taken care of, jump onto the surfboard and make your way to the first sheep shooter cannon. This is the section where you become a very believable sheep for the first time. Get shot through a cannon and actually get a combat section you can't avoid. After that, do a lock puzzle and boom goes sheep shooter 1. Now on to more goo covered floors, enemies you can ignore, and platforms. Continue till you get to the platform that goes up and down with several gloop gunners. Take them out, open the gate, and back to being a so-called sheep. Get shot through the cannon and avoid rising goo to make your way to a couple more gloopy boys to open the gate. Lock puzzle time, then boom goes sheep shooter 2. Now on to the final one. Here, avoid lots of goo balls on platforms and more skippable combat. If you don't skip by the combat, it's actually pretty fun with creative enemies, but the fact that you can pass by them without needing to fight is definitely a design flaw. Surprise! Sheep time again. Go through the cannon and you're greeted to an unskippable and the hardest combat section in this game. 2 K-Bot Mine Miners, magic spell punks making them invisible, paste pedal chompies, and splode shards. Barely surviving sometimes, make your way to the lock puzzle and boom goes the last sheep shooter cannon. Now on to the first of 2 boss fights. Yes, I said 2. I'm including Chaos's mom and Chaos. Only including Chaos because he's the final boss of the game and this is the final level leading up to him. Starting with Chaos's mom. You don't fight her necessarily. It's basically a 3-part arena against all the evilized enemies we've faced throughout the game. It's fun and sometimes challenging, but not necessarily a boss fight to me. You never actually manually attack her, she kind of attacks herself with the crystals that fall and reflect her beam attack. Do this over and over till she finally uses her beam on a mirror that Tessa knocks down, and she's trapped inside forever? I really don't know, and I don't think anyone else knows if she ever escaped. Now on to Chaos. Short and sweet because this level was long. It's one of my favorite boss fights in the whole franchise, just based off of creativity. It's not super challenging unless you're on Nightmare and a Chompy can take half your health. For the fight there's 4 phases. Destroy toenails and avoid slam attacks, destroy teeth and avoid several waves of Chompies and Golems, along with the occasional wave attack when he closes his mouth. Last combat wave is when you're inside of his head, and it's by far the hardest part. Their size is doubled, the playing field is small, and the camera angle is poopy. I'd explain the camera as very flat, like on an angle you can't really see depth on the screen. Destroy crystals and waves of enemies to eventually get knocked out. Now onto the home stretch. Run as fast as you can to the cannon to take him out. Use a couple of swappers that have the ability to either hide underground or go up in the sky to avoid his fire attacks, or simply just time it right and jump over it. Once you make your way to the cannon, jump inside, button mash until you shoot your Skylander right into the head crystals of Chaos, capping off the game. Number 3. The Lair of Chaos. Notice the in front of the name. For this one, we're looking at the Lair of Chaos from Imaginators, not Lair of Chaos from Spyro's Adventure. The Lair of Chaos is probably the most creative story level in all of Imaginators. It's fun. It has challenging combat and actually looks really cool. Story-wise, obviously it's not great because it's Imaginators and we all know the story is just dreadful. So ignore the fact that we snuck into the lair with a giant cake. Immediately upon starting, you're greeted to several different types of Chaos clones who do all sorts of different attacks. They're also all different shapes and sizes, which helps you remember who does what attacks. Make your way past them to get to the first of few light beam puzzles in this level. Adding a nice challenge to the light puzzles, these now have timers, which depending on who you're using can be difficult unless you take out all of the enemies first. Once through there, do the same thing again with different mixtures of clones to fight. Do it once more to open the final gate to get to the platform that floats you over to Chaos's Lord Chaos Super Awesome Challenge. It's actually a fun addition at first glance, then you realize it plays very little part in the actual level. It would have been a lot better if you had to manually get a certain score by avoiding traps and defeating enemies to open the final gate. But besides that, this level is full of combat and tight spaces where making one mistake can have you switching Skylanders. Once you're actually to Chaos and Brain, it's time to talk about the most chaotic Chaos fight of all time. He literally throws everything at you. You'll have to fight off all the Doomlanders you've fought throughout the levels, most times multiple at once, but luckily damaging them also damages Chaos. So shoot at something. Chaos has one attack and it's the same as it was in Trap Team, but the shield isn't as wide so you can still hit him from a little distance. Avoid waves over and over and over and over, along with many Doomlanders and the never seen before Sentinel Doomlander to finally defeat Chaos for the 6th time. The time that finally made him stop trying to take over Skylands. Number 2. Bringing order to chaos. Giants might actually be my favorite Skylanders game of all time. It has literally everything. It's got great combat, an amazing story, challenging difficulties, and creative enemies. That's all captured very well in this level. Bringing order to chaos is by far the most nostalgic level for me. Hearing Chaos taunt and gloat about his Archean armor and his Iron Fist of Arcus while we're slowly sneaking in to take him out is so good. The level starts off with the lovely Robo Ball to break open the wall. If you don't know, Robo Balls can be used in combat sections and are super helpful on Nightmare difficulty. After you break through the wall, you're greeted to a nice warm-up combat section. Frigid Chompies, 2 Archean snipers, and a Juggernaut. Take Chompies out first, then be careful not to get shot by the snipers while you're working on the Juggernaut. Moving on, you'll have conveyor belts with fire spouts that do insane damage on Nightmare. This is definitely my least favorite part of this level, but luckily it doesn't take too long. Just feels repetitive because you have to do it twice to progress. Once you do, move along some moving platforms and take out a wave of bombers and jousters. Nothing too crazy. Bounce up and roll another Robo Ball to break down another wall. Now the combat is getting tough. You're first given 4 jousters to fight, and then a Juggernaut spawns in behind them trying to shoot you with his laser that everyone knows does massive damage. Once the jousters are gone, in comes 2 of everyone's favorite, the Archean Duelists. Defeat them with the Juggernaut to move up to the next level. Now face one lonely Juggernaut with the help of 2 bombers throwing bombs. It's always pretty easy. Keep going up and take them out as well. Go across the conveyor belt and fight a bunch of Chompies with 2 bombers and a crystal golem who can 100% one-shot you on Nightmare. Move along and don't get hit by the spinning blades. Waiting for you is Arik. Grab a heal from him and it's time to take on Robo Chaos. At first, all you have to do is run away from him, avoiding enemies, conveyor belts, while Chaos is punching the bridge. Reach and jump on the button to cause an avalanche to take him out for a few seconds. Now is where the fight really starts. In a perfectly crafted cinematic fight, you must damage Chaos as much as possible, whenever possible, as our favorite little ghost and Ermit go toe-to-toe with the giant Robo Chaos. Attack the fist, but watch out for the slam that will completely delete your Skylander. Chaos will start spawning in jousters and juggernauts throughout the whole rest of the fight. While so, you must keep damaging the fist and eventually the head of the armor. Multiple times in the fight, Chaos will spawn a Chompy Mage-like spell you must dodge while also still attacking Chaos and his minions. But play it right, and you can use Chaos's slam and eye lasers against his own minions, making it a lot easier. Eventually, Chaos will fall, lose the Iron Fist, and Skylands is saved in dramatic fashion. Number 1. Layer of Chaos. Now on to the greatest ending in Skylanders. You know how people say sequels are never as good as the original? Well, that's never been more true. Layer of Chaos in Spyro's adventure is just perfect. The level leading up to the boss fight isn't anything crazy or difficult anymore for a regular player, but playing it as a kid, fair to say, I needed an army of Skylanders. The level is designed in such a way that you can really feel that you're getting closer and closer to Chaos's castle to finally get the chance to take him out. You start off at the bottom of the path, where you must defeat a small wave of fire imps, which for some reason find a way to hit me more times than not. Bounce up to find more fire imps and a lava king spawning more imps. Snag the key behind him for the door, then take out a few Drow witches and additional fire imps. From this point on, you'll notice the replayability. As you go along, for the rest of the level, there's many areas where you must choose left or right to continue, each having something good, but you can never get both in one go. Sometimes it has an elemental gate on one side or food on the other, treasure chest or a soul gem, money or food, lots of choices, but it's a really neat feature that is only found in this part of the game. Continuing on, you'll have to choose paths, avoiding slamming spikes, and defeating waves of enemies in tight spaces. These enemies are some of the harder ones found in the game. Lots of lava kings, fire imps, Drow witches, undead spellpunks, and shadow knight. You'll eventually reach a point when you need 3 keys to continue. One is right in front of you, where you'll need to defeat enemies around it. And for the Nintendo Wii version of the game, there's 2 walking paths like the paths you just came from. But on the XBEC versions like 360 and PS3, there's floating platforms. Each provide a key and the same combat, but a different way to get there. After unlocking the gate with all 3 keys, you'll access the last couple platforms. Here's a small space where you're forced to defeat some of the heaviest damaging enemies you've faced: Knights, Lava Kings, and Undead Spellpunks. Once you have, the gate will lower and it's finally time to take on Chaos. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm not going to go super in depth with the boss fights, but I definitely could for this one more than any other, because it's Chaos. And I mean Chaos with a CH and not with a K. This fight is just great, perfectly wrapping up the story and all you've learned along the way. Avoiding Chaos is hilariously the easiest part of this fight. He really doesn't do much. But facing evil minions of our Skylanders, sometimes 3 at once, on a small field is so much fun and very difficult depending on who it is. Chop Chop, Hex, Flameslinger, Ghost Roaster, I'm looking at you guys. There's multiple ways to play this fight. You either go for the minions first, then damage Chaos with any time left before he goes away, or just go for Chaos and do enough damage where the minions despawn. I do both, but it all depends on who I'm using and if I need health, because defeating minions drops food, which is essential. Lastly, and most importantly, the Hydra. The Hydra, story-wise, was always ominous because you never really saw it or knew what was strong enough to destroy the Core of Light and take out the mighty Eon. So seeing it up close and dodging elemental attacks from each head is truly something special and honestly difficult. Spyro's adventure doesn't have a difficulty slider, so it's one flat difficulty. But absolutely nothing prepares you for this fight. Whether it's getting stuck in a fire attack or running into lasers, sharks, or life bullets, it's ruthless. But the payoff is well worth it. This fight feels like it takes forever due to the constant changes on the field, from the spells and minions to just being frustrated that Chaos keeps flying away when you finally get the opportunity to do damage. But once Chaos is defeated and the Hydra finally falls, it's over. And for most players, this was the first time they ever saved Skylands. That's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome. I really enjoyed making this, and I actually have another one already in the making, so I hope you guys are excited as I am. As you guys will notice, I'm starting to make a little less content, but the content I'm pushing out is better quality. I want to take more time into the editing process and make really good videos, like I consider this one. I consider this to be a good video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it because I had fun making it. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitch. I stream here on YouTube, if you guys don't know, multiple times a week, multiple videos a week. So hope you guys enjoy all the content. As always, thank you guys for watching. Keep saving Skylands, and I'll see you guys soon.